atmospheric ambient hum, soft gust of eerie wind. In the quiet, echoing halls of medieval punishment, the mind strays to the haunting images birthed from a time steeped in fear, superstition, and control. Among these, few artifacts captivate the imagination, quite like the Iron Maiden. But pause here for a moment. What you think you know might not be the truth. Why does the Iron Maiden, such a menacing symbol of pain and authority, hold a title etched into cultural memory, teetering between myth and reality? Soft sound of turning ancient parchment. Let's journey back in time. The Middle Ages, the era where the whispers of justice weren't spoken calmly. They thundered through cathedrals, castles, and town squares. Here, mercy and ruthlessness intertwined, creating a world whose heartbeats synchronized with the tolling of ominous bells signaling order or doom. How does fear shape a society? That's the question that wraps itself around the Iron Maiden, a tale or tool that still leaves us questioning. It is synonymous with agony, but oddly tied to spectacle. Was it ever used? Or was it simply a terrifying story, a lesson carved in cultural stone? Let's break this down. The Middle Ages was a time of stringent hierarchies. Kings ruled by divine right. Religious sectors wielded ultimate moral authority, and guilds regulated professions from birth to death. But where power concentrates, so do control mechanisms. Fear became a commodity used to enforce loyalty. Instruments of torment thrived not just to inflict suffering, but to instill obedience. These weren't simply weapons of pain. They were tools of public theater. Now, the Iron Maiden. Common knowledge tells us it was a sarcophagus equipped with sharp spikes designed to impale a hapless victim. It conjures the image of a grim-faced executioner, draped in a leathery hood, pushing some unfortunate soul into its fatal embrace. But when you dig beneath the centuries, and I mean literally dig into archaeological and documented truths, the story twists. Gentle echo of footsteps crossing a stone floor. For all its bone-chilling presence in museums, historical evidence of the Iron Maiden's usage during the Middle Ages is scarce. So scarce, in fact, many historians contend it's a later invention, an industrial age fabrication designed to romanticize the barbarity of medieval times. Think about that. A tool not of death but of myth, creating shadows darker than reality itself. German author Johann Philipp Siebenkees, writing around 1793, is one of the first recorded sources referencing a device evocative of the Iron Maiden, attributed to the execution of a coin forger. But was his account credible? Many suspect exaggeration, or pure fiction, planted to dance with the terrible legends which had sprung from bygone eras. So why would something like the Iron Maiden emerge as a symbol of medieval cruelty? The answer lies partly in human psychology. Fear spreads faster than truth. In the 18th and 19th centuries, as modernity advanced, societies reflecting on their ancestral past often embellished tales to mark their progress. You see, by painting earlier societies as grotesque and barbaric, they justified their evolution. Museums and circuses exhibited Iron Maidens as relics of another time, charging admission fees while stoking imaginations. Picture this scene: a mystical room illuminated by dim light and guarded by mystique. An ornate Iron Maiden stands center stage, open for prying eyes. Your guide, hushed and reverent, whispers tales of inhuman suffering, atrocities that twist in one's stomach. For that moment, horror transcends reality. The artifact becomes the story, and that story transforms into folklore. Sound of pages turning, faint bell in the background. But let's challenge the narrative a little further. Pain, after all, was very real in medieval justice, not ornamental or mythical. Instruments like the rack, the wheel, and yes, even vague historical mentions of spiked confines existed to elicit confession, enforce consequences, and warn onlookers. Were these acts horrific? Undoubtedly. But the carelessness of defining tools like the Iron Maiden, without proper foundation, misrepresents an age we can learn from, rather than distantly vilify. Gentle echo of a large door creaking closed. If the Iron Maiden wasn't medieval at all, what does this say about how we tell history? That brings us to an even bigger idea. Myths matter. They shape our understanding of morality, progression, and justice across epochs. To a peasant under the shadow of medieval authority, public punishment on the scaffold was as psychological as it was physical. To spectators centuries later, the myth of the Iron Maiden replaced direct experience, teaching lessons through fiction. Consider this. Does shrouding history in myth soften the blow of what human cruelty is capable of? Or does it distort our lens, implying horrors not suffered while forgetting those that truly shaped civilizations? Soft chant fades in the background, paired with subtle whispers of a windstorm. The Iron Maiden thus whispers to us, not of tangible lives lost perhaps, but of how societies have manipulated the intangible. Whether to warn, educate, or control, fear in all ages remains a flexible tool. When wielded carefully, ideas like the Iron Maiden carve themselves into art, storytelling, and moral debates. When misdirected or overused, they distort crucial lessons, veiling truth behind shadow. Pause now and ask, where else have relics deceived? What stories endure, mirroring the Iron Maiden's duality of terror and spectacle? Sound of distant metal clinking. In conclusion, we must contextualize these dark relics, not just for the sake of historical interest, but for understanding psychological and social manipulation tools like fear and legend. It reminds us of humanity's older struggles, where justice often became theatrical, justice became fear. It nudges us closer toward understanding the delicate threads by which our ancestors held society together. But history warns us about exaggerating moral victories or defeats. Whether the Iron Maiden ever slid its jaws shut to crush a victim doesn't diminish its eerie responsibility to teach restraint. Its echoes, mythical though they may be, serve a reminder. Even fabricated tools in the archives of memory have lasting power to guide futures. So next time you see an Iron Maiden on display, peer beyond its spikes, beyond its physicality, and view it as humanity's ancient mirror. Reflect on the narratives we propagate and challenge yourself. Is this fear my truth? Or something deeper, darker, and yet imaginary? Soft music crescendos, then fades away.